Hello, world. It's me, Dennis. I'm here with my friend Noemi Beres. Hello, Noemi.
Hi, Dennis. It's been a while. It's a pleasure to have a conversation again. I'm so excited about it.
That's wonderful. Well, in addition to your podcast connection, where you connect people who go on podcasts around the world, you've started a new initiative. And I can't think of a better time to be doing this than how do we lower our anxiety and increase our peace of mind around the world. So tell me how you got into this and help me to spread the word.
Thank you, Dennis. That's a great question. Yes. So I started a service called Silent Thinking Session. And of course, there's always a story behind it, like behind everything else. So my story about the silent thinking session is that first time ever in my life, this May in 2025, I visited the US. I went on a hiking trip all by myself with a bunch of people I knew, and it was in North Carolina, in the beautiful, forest woods of
Oh,
North Carolina. I really enjoyed that. It was so peaceful. It was so quiet. And I realized that I never had time to think silently at home because I was grinding, I was working all the time, I was dealing with my own trauma, with my own grief since 2019 when my dad passed away because of cancer and my grandma passed away because of an accident. So I was just working, 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 never had a quiet time. But when you hike and you just need to catch your breath and you can't even speak, what do you do? You think. So that's what I was doing during that time, thinking and thinking about a lot of things happening to me in the past 4 or 5 years. And I got back to Cyprus. I sat down, I started to think in silence, and I came up with this new service, new program that I offer to people who are very busy and they can't even schedule thinking, silent thinking into their days and into their schedules.
so basically, virtually all of us, because
Yeah,
this is right now, we are being pushed by not only by the news cycles, but by the delta, the amount of change that is happening more rapidly now than ever in the history of the world. We have been joined by new beings on the planet, these things called AIs, these individual beings, these super intelligences that are learning about us and they're working about and are being intermeshed into everything we do. We have so much of social media, so much going on. So it's a constant chatter. And it's not something I think that it wasn't until you got out into the mountains of North Carolina that you were able to see and experience the difference.
absolutely. There was so much noise. And as you said, Dennis, there's constant, disruption. There's constant noise everywhere for the kids, for the adults, beeping, your phone, your computer, Zoom calls. It's always just go, 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 go and never stop and focus on yourself, focus on your thoughts, focus on your inner thoughts. And it's kind of horrible that we don't have time for that. And
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. And that reminds me of my childhood when my mom told me stories about how my grandparents lived in Hungary, in Central Europe, that, after a busy day out in the fields, working there like manual work, like hard labor all day long, they went home, they had a very like big dinner, obviously. They needed needed energy, needed food, and after that, they sat outside. Maybe they had like a small bench in the street in front of their houses. They talked to other people, or they were singing, or they just sat in silence and looking the sunset. And they knew how to do that, but we just lost the connection with ourselves and we lost the connection with our thoughts. And that's the problem. That causes so much trouble in the world right now.
So how did you break this down into the individual parts? Talk about one of them and take us through it and take some of the things that we'll do for me to connect with you, and you will help me, like, show me the modalities.
Yeah, so what I do with people, it can be a one-on-one conversation, or not conversation, silent thinking session, because we don't talk. That's the point. And it can be a group silent thinking session. And I did both, and it was fantastic. And for me, it's all about energy, the energy you bring to the table, the energy you bring to the meeting. It was
Hmm.
so fascinating because one of us, like me, I'm the silent thinking space holder, needs to have a kind of high vibe, positive energy, because people, we are all energy. Everything is energy all around us. So
We are made of energy.
we
This
made
is
of
this is
energy.
from the ground up. We are this source of energy.
Absolutely, Dennis. And so what I do, I sit down with people, and thankfully we have Zoom. You know, since COVID, we use it very often.
It's
So it's a
wonderful.
yeah, so true. And we can connect with people all across the globe. Most of the people I had a silent thinking session with, they are across the pond in the US, in Canada, and we sit down and I give them space, a non-judgmental space to slow down, to breathe, to reconnect with themselves, and to do the silent thinking session. I always prompt them to come with a couple of, uh, I would say, like, thinking points that you want to go through during the session. Bring a journal with you, and you can jot down a few things that come to your mind. And if you want, you can always share that with me after the session, after a 30-minute session. But you don't necessarily need to do that. You just, we sit together. I'm the space holder. My energy is there with you. And you just think, because like if you're just thinking about like when do we schedule thinking, we never do that. So when you do that, and when you have a person that you do that with, that makes a difference. And that's kind of a game changer, because we are always busy. We're busy with our family, with work, with everything, and us, like ourselves, is always the last in the line. So I think it's really
I
important
love
to
it.
focus on ourselves now.
I love this concept for many reasons. One of the things is that I find during my own day is that my my thinking will jump from subject to subject. I will never take one thing and work it through because it's very hard, because something else suddenly is demanding my attention. And I see this as a way of focusing and being able to be present with that idea, like we would a plant, and nurture it and grow it individually rather than just immediately jumping on to the next thing.
Exactly, very true. And that's the whole point, that we just jump from one thing to another. That's why like so many people advise us to, do journaling, because that helps us. And it's also important to say that this is not meditation, this is not coaching, this is not therapy. So this is none of these. This is like a different, space that I provide. And what I found, it's really beneficial with for people who suffer from anxiety, stress, different traumas, or PTSD.
So you
Because
mean basically all of us.
yes, yeah, we
I
can
mean, it
say that.
really is. This is the unmentioned, unbrought about during the 21st century, and during going back to the delta, the speed of change that is happening. There is an unresolved anxiety, not only just of the trauma that has happened over my life that I've just go past, put a patch on it, go on,
Yeah.
but we're allowing us then to go back and to witness to this.
Exactly, exactly. And I had a few conversations about this with different podcast hosts. One of them was a therapist, and it was a really interesting point, because I also talk about that. Like, talk therapy is great when you have PTSD, anxiety, but not always. And he agreed with me. My dear friend Dave, shout out to him. He's a great podcast host, and we talked about this on his show, that it's not always therapeutic for people with PTSD, anxiety, and with different mental health problems to always talk you through, always go back to your trauma, always remind yourself what happened. Sometimes you just need someone to sit with you, hold space for you, and don't try to jump in and fix things, because that's the problem with society right now, because we always want to fix, like, quick fixes
Oh
right
yeah,
now, right?
yeah. Put something on it. Take something
Yes,
for it. Do something
tablet,
to never
whatever.
to sit and feel and experience what it is and allow.
Exactly. Allow just to be in silence, allow with someone else, provide the space for them. And you don't judge them, you don't fix them, you just be with them. And I had conversations with people who are grief coaches. And for example, when somebody is grieving, they don't want your advice. I'm honestly, I mean, that's the last thing they want to do. They want to be with someone. Maybe if they want to talk about it, they can, you can listen, but like just being in silence with them and just helping them to get through their days, their thoughts, providing space. It's so important to provide a positive, kind, non-judgmental space for someone who is suffering from whatever they dealing with.
Tell me about your individual process, Noemi. When you before you do a silent thinking, how do you mentally and spiritually and emotionally prepare before you go into a session, before you turn on the Zoom and say now?
That's a brilliant question, and nobody asked me that, Dennis, before. So, which is really important, because you can be stressed, you can be worked up on something, because people feel your energy like immediately when you get on a call.
Me too.
So yeah, exactly. So what I do, I'm a walker. I love walking, and thankfully we live in a space. I live in a space very close to the sea, very close to nature. So I go for a walk if I when I have a call like this, and just without any disruption, I just enjoy the sunsets. I love them, fresh air, and you just clear your mind like completely before I get on a call. And if I'm because we are human, we can be stressed about something, even me. I mean, I'm not someone who has, not dealing with things in her life. So what I do, I just sit down maybe in this chair, doing some breathing exercises, and also just ground myself before getting on that Zoom call, uh, and just breathing helps, and just a short meditation, even if it's 5 minutes or so, it helps so much for me to ground myself and be at service for someone and help someone.
This is a wonderful thing. So tell me some of the experiences of the people, some of the people who have gone through this, so you can help us to connect with what they're doing.
It was amazing. Especially, I never imagined that like a group silent thinking session would be so powerful, because at first I only wanted to do one on one, but then a bunch of people that I know and I love, and they are kind of shout out to my Go Giver family across the pond. They asked me to do a silent thinking session for them, and just the power of the energy in the group when everybody went silent. And that was amazing, that was fantastic, and that was the feedback what I got from them. I have a short script that I always leave here, so I can, I don't remember every word for word. Someone told me that it feels like for floating in the ocean, and supported, safe, and free to receive. And there's some other person said it encourages you to ask, like, what do I need to hear right now? And it was fantastic, and everybody looked so relaxed, so peaceful, and just so grounded after a 30-minute silent thinking session. It was, yeah, even for me, it was in immediate shift in the energy when we started doing that and we finished it. So, and I was so surprised and even shocked after the first group session. It was really powerful, and I enjoyed it like immensely.
Well, I really think that's one of the keys, because if you're not getting as much out of it as the people are who are on the seat in the sessions, they will lose. Everyone loses. You have to be as present and as much into it as they are, in order for this and for raising the energy level, or expanding the space enough so that people can actually have some place to feel it.
Absolutely. And what I also want to teach them to, I can be there with them all the time, obviously, and not with everyone, but I would love to teach them to do the routine of silent thinking session at home when you are sitting on your porch with a cup of tea, or you're going for a walk in the nature or a hike in the nature, and you do that there, like the silent thinking session by yourself. Obviously it's the best if you have someone present with like a very grounding, positive, high vibe energy, but that's not always possible. So you can actually learn it by yourself to incorporate it into your day. You can schedule it into your day, and it makes a huge difference in our lives.
So how help me with this? Okay, so again, I get monkey mind going from one thing to another, jumping around and all. So help me to focus, help me to begin my session, and so I can as I go about today.
I would say the best thing to do, you start a journal. You start a silent thinking journal. And you come with an intention to discuss one, two, three things max, with yourself, with your thoughts. If you're starting with the whole silent thinking session routine, maybe just pick one, because then our monkey mind, like everybody else's, we just jump around everywhere. And just go with one. That's the most important and the most pressuring thing on your mind. Jot that down and go through that. Like only focus on that don't try to lose the focus, because see, when we are meditating, it's always we have to clear our minds. That's the main thing, and it's so hard to do. But when you do a silent thinking session, you don't need to do that, because your thoughts are with you. You don't have to get rid of them, but just try to focus on one, maximum two things that you want to go through, maybe during a 30-minute period of time. It's really important. So we're not jumping around, because that's the problem, that we always do that all the time, myself as well included. Yeah. And that's why I thought, like, if I have problem with this, I mean, other people must have a problem with this too. I mean, I'm not the only person who suffers just jumping around. And yeah, because honestly, we have like how many, like 60, 70, 80,000 thoughts per day. I mean, that's wild. I mean, we are just jumping around in our head the whole day.
All day, all
Yeah.
day. One of the things that I've been doing recently is that I've been letting my mind wander. And in doing this, and when I say this, is that because what I find is that if I have a thought in my head, I actually have to push it. I actually have to, I act on it and I think of one other thing as I'm thinking about a particular problem or situation,
Right.
and I'll work it. So it's an actual active process. So what I've done, what I'm doing lately is that I will think about this like this is inside a corral, just a place
Yeah.
that is surrounded, right? And what I do is I sit inside that corral inside my mind and I open the gate
Mm.
and I tell my mind, just go wander. And it's a different thing than thinking about something because all I'm doing is letting it wander. And any thought that bubbles up, I notice it and just let it continue on without my following that thought and doing it just to be able to get that sense of calm in that sense. And then to take that one thought that keeps coming up or whatever, and then journal about that or write about that and talk about that and to be able to go through that.
That's beautiful. And I love that. And love the allegory, like what you use, like you open it up and you let it flow. And the flow is so important, like in everything else in life, the flow of your thoughts. And during a silent thinking session too, it's like everything just flows to you, and you don't need to pressure anything. It just comes to you when you have time, when you relax, when you are present, breathing like calmly. I mean, everything will come to you. All the important things that bothers your mind, it will come to you. There's no force, just flow.
What I love about what you're doing, Noemi, is that you're getting an opportunity. You are doing something that is both ancient and as modern as today at the same time. You're You're doing something that is deeply essential to the human consciousness that people have practiced as long as we have been here. The people who have been able to carry this, and it is as applicable today as it was then, perhaps more so.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, it was with us like thousands of years ago, probably,
Sure.
until our brain started to work. I think, just a modern society that, like, everything is just so fast paced that we don't have time basically to anything. And the other problem is that the lack of community, because we talk about a lot how to belong to a community, how to belong to a tribe, but what I noticed that, like, we rarely listen to each other and we rarely are being present for each other. And that's why you need someone to sit with. And you don't need fixing. You want a non-judgmental, no fixed place where you can just be yourself and with your
Yeah.
thoughts.
So, and I like what you're talking about there, because we've gotten into this separation thinking, this individuation, whereas we are on this little blue marble out on the edge of the Milky Way, in this galaxy, in this universe, and we're all on this together. We're all members of the same race, the human race, who are members of this species that happens to be on this planet. For goodness sakes, let's act like it. We're family.
Yes, and I read that's so beautifully said, Dennis. Thank you for that. And I read a few books by Dr. Joe Dispenza about, the collectiveness and the energy that basically connects everyone on this planet. And it's marvelous. It's like fantastic to think about it. Like, I'm sitting here in Cyprus, you are in the US, and we're connected, and it's so powerful. We just need to be present and feel that energy and the power of that.
So how do I reach out to you for a session? What are the processes that those of us who want to participate in this can do?
I love simplicity, so there's nothing, complicated about it. I have a website, which is my name. It's noemiberes.com, and there's a space for that you can join my waitlist. And once you join the waitlist, I will get in touch with you, and we can, we have a first conversation, obviously, that how this whole silent thinking session will happen and how we will do it, all the details. And after that, we just schedule our silent thinking sessions, which are usually 30-minute long. And it can be a one-on-one, or it can be a group session as well. So it's very easy. It's a wait list. You can join. Or if you are on LinkedIn and you are a busy entrepreneur, business owner, because we are all, who doesn't? And you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn. Same here, Noemi Beres, and you can message me there.
Wonderful. Well, what else do we want to say today? What else is on your mind and on your heart?
Too many things. And yeah, I think it's so important that whatever we do in life right now. And I heard this quote from my great friend and mentor, Bob Berg. I always give a shout out to him all the time,
Hey,
who is
Bob.
the, yes. And just whatever the people around you, your friends, your family, your community, just make them good about themselves. That's it. That's what they need. And people just need to feel seen, heard, valued, aka loved. That's all we need. Love. And after whatever we have after that, nothing else really matters once we have love and people are seen, heard, and valued in our life. It's so simple, yet it's not fulfilled all the time.
Easy. It's simple but not easy, as all of
Not
us know
easy.
in this process, but it is absolutely essential as breathing.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Noemi. Thank you for coming today and spending some beautiful time with me. Let's not make this the last.
No, absolutely not. I would love to continue the conversation, Dennis. It's always a joy to be with you.
Well, I can't wait to see more of your and this is your passion, your ministry, a way of you ministering to the human race through your own practice.
Absolutely. I think I found my passion. I was looking for this for many years, and not just serving people with getting them guests on different podcasts, but this is kind of my, maybe that's going to be my legacy. Who knows? But it feels like for me
It
right
is
now.
it is because you're doing it on a daily basis and you came to North Carolina to find it and there it was and you took it back to Cyprus and now spreading it to the world. Thank
Yes.
you, Noemi Beres. We will talk with you again. And thank you, everyone, for coming to Tardan today and enjoying this. And with my friend, Noemi Beres.